Um, so I'm just going to go to this next slide, hopefully. So hang on one second. My slides seem to not want to progress. There we go. So I had to wake it back up. We'd been sitting, making sure everything was working. So I am the founder and CEO of ProjaTec. We are a small woman-owned consulting firm. We've been around for the last, actually almost 13 years, 14 years going on. And we mainly focus in network engineering, project management, and program management. So we are also, I spent a lot of my career in the federal government and nonprofit and for-profit organizations. I've had 30 years plus of IT experience in those environments, writing IT strategy and doing implementation, going anywhere back to the early dinosaur days of the beginning of the internet to up and through right now with this AI sort of next generation of innovation that's going on. So, just so you know a little bit about me, just a really fun fact: I grew up on a Maryland horse farm with my aunt and uncle. We had a family farm, and we spent a lot of time. We had thoroughbreds, and they did horse racing. So it was a lot of hard work. It was full of curiosity and determination. And my aunt and uncle were actually both mathematicians who prompted me to want to go into mathematics. I got a BS from University of Maryland, an MBA from Virginia Tech, and I have lots of other professional certifications I gained throughout my career. And I don't know if Amy, you want to go around and introduce everyone else, but that's me. And my mission today is to show you how you can create your digital team member with AI. So if you want to go around, that's fine. If not, you want me to keep going, let me know.
We can jump in if everybody just wants to say their name and what type of business you have and maybe what you're most looking forward to hearing about today, maybe what piece of AI. And that will also give us some insight on, there's so much to cover. So she's just going to give like a brief overview, and that could also give us some insight on next year and maybe breaking it down into a series and what aspects you guys are interested in. So I'll just start over here from my guest list. So Art, you want to go ahead?
Okay, I'm an insurance consultant for the last 53 years. Um, and, I consult to very large engineering firms and architectural firms around the Mid-Atlantic region. And I'm just looking to become further enlightened about how to use the information and how to formulate questions. Chat GPT is great as long as you know the right questions to ask.
Carlene?
Good morning. I'm with the Radcliffe Foundation. We have grant partners from Florida to Delaware and as far west as Ohio. And I'm looking to understand more about how AI can help us all be more efficient, but also I'd like to know how to verify information that is produced. A little bit of a trust, but verify the data.
Good. All right, I got a J Bolt.
I am the executive assistant for JMS Management, which includes we do management for 4 Celebrity franchises, including Celebrity School of Glen Burnie.
Great. Jen Balducci.
Yeah, I'm the owner of One Physical Therapy, Fitness, and Wellness, and here to support Elizabeth, and can't wait to hear about her presentation today.
Julie Greenhill.
Hey, good morning. I represent a new dual brand Marriott property in the downtown Annapolis corridor, and I'm like Art. I want to join anything that I can get my hands on to learn more about AI, specifically in the sales arena, and how to prompt or maybe some, marketing ideas, things of that nature in order to boost revenue and heads and beds at a Marriott hotel here in Annapolis.
Awesome. One of our newest members, Joan.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Yeah, my name is John Oyedoku, and I'm the founder of a small nonprofit organization called Life Bloom. And what do we do at Life Bloom? We advocate, we create awareness about women-related issue with a special focus on endometriosis, fibroid, infertility, and stuff like that. So I'm just here we're building a team and, just here to learn how AI can help me to be more efficient in all that we do. Thanks.
Thank you. Catherine Shrivers. Up, she is in a loud environment and can't talk right now. Peter Allen.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Peter Allen. I'm a EOS implementer. I work with small and medium-sized businesses, and I'm just here to learn.
And Tom Collins.
Thank you. Tom Collins, Director of Sales, Chesapeake Telephone Systems, and I'm a lifetime learner. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
Awesome. And Brooke, are you still there? Do you want to say hey?
Hey, I'm Brooke with the Chamber. Very excited to hear all that Elizabeth has to share with us. Use ChatGPT often, so I'm very excited.
Yes, we do use it at the office as much as we can. But yeah, we're excited to learn more. I've also seen where chambers can create their own like GPTs custom to the chamber and like for helping with tourism questions and all the things. So excited. Go ahead, take it away, Elizabeth.
Okay, thanks. Great to meet you all. Thanks for introducing yourselves. I really appreciate it. I think there is a lot of benefit, hopefully, that I can add to the conversation with AI. And certainly, there's a lot of things you can do with it. It is a very fast-moving market. So let's get into it. I want to make sure we have time for Q&A at the end here. So just so you know, everything that you're going to see in this presentation has been done with AI tools, including my photo, including the presentation itself, and including the script that we're using. So it's all been created with AI. Of course, AI with oversight is always what I talk about, AI with oversight and validation. So anyway, so let's get rolling. So what's a GBT? One of the things to think about when you think about GBTs is it's really almost like the new wave of apps. If you think about the way apps hit our phones and the way that they've changed our lives, think about GBTs kind of the same way. It does have a formal name of generative pre-trained transformer, which quite honestly means a lot of gobbledygook and nothing to me personally. But what that really means to us and to everyone else is that really it is, I want to say it's a really souped up, very, very, very good language processor. And it takes information and acts like a smart assistant. So a GBT really is what you think about when you think about chat, but a custom GBT is a specially trained chat. It has, you can tailor its instructions to guide responses, and you can add information. You can tell it exactly how you want it to behave and what you want it to do. So it is something that is more controlled and by you and how you want it to respond. So think about it really like a digital assistant or a digital coworker or just a helping hand in your business. Just one thing I do want to note too is that GBTs, what I'm going to be showing you today, are through OpenAI's Chat GPT tool, but they are only available with a paid subscription service. So with $20 a month service, you can start doing these, and then they are shareable. So that's something else entirely, but they are shareable, and you can publish them internally, privately to just yourself, or you can publish them into a GBT library. So there's a lot of capability. And that's why I really like to think about them like apps in the App Store, that people can actually use your GBTs if you want to publish them publicly. So like I said, I just talked a little bit about why customize or what a GBT is, but really if you think about customization of a GBT, so I think a couple of you mentioned something about wanting to check the knowledge and check the GBT and check the information that comes out of chat. Well, with a customized GBT, you're doing that already. You're telling it the role, the tone, the knowledge base, and the tools to use. And one of the things that I think about when I think about these customized GBTs is really a really good way to think about it is preserving knowledge. So if you have an employee or you have a specialized process that you have to do in your business, and you need all of the information that's either in that employee's head or you have to refer a lot to regulations. This is very true in what I'm going to be showing you soon, but this is very true in some industries where you have a lot of still regulations you have to refer to and you have to understand them thoroughly, reference them, and you can load these things all into a customized GBT and ask it questions like you would a chat interface. And it's only going to use the tools in the order in which you tell it. So it's very controlled, meaning that it's not going to go out and look for things on Reddit or, on the internet that may not be exactly factual to what you're doing in an especially regulated environment or anything you have to follow specific tools. So that's one use case for it. The other one is preserving knowledge, like I mentioned. If you have an employee that you've had for a long time, or if you have an employee that's doing a very specific, specialized job, and maybe they want to move on, maybe they're going on maternity leave or they're retiring. So whatever the case may be, you can actually work with that employee to capture all the knowledge and create a digital version of that employee to either not backfill that employee or help train the next employee you bring on board. So it's really, really good in preserving that institutional knowledge that you have. And that's one of the things I struggle with in the federal government and with retirements is we had a lot of people that had this wealth of institutional knowledge about very specific systems that were customized and custom built for the government. And they would retire and leave with all that information. It was always very challenging to get that information captured. So you can ask the employee just to start talking about it, or you can have recorded interviews and you can take all that information using other AI tools and create SOPs and guidelines from just their brain. So it's basically like a brain dump. And then you can take it, preserve it, encapsulate it, and put it in a customized GBT. So there's some really strong use cases for it. And that's what really got me interested in it. So let's really talk about a little bit more about some of the other use cases. Like I mentioned, the institutional knowledge. You can also reduce your training time. So say you have there's a woman that I work with one of the nonprofits I'm involved with who she was just hired by a funeral home. And I never realized that funeral home training is extremely long training period. And she had like a 2-week onboarding just in training. Like they would sit in a classroom and do training for 2 weeks before she was allowed to even go into the office and start working with people. It's a very regulated environment, and funeral directors actually have very specific qualifications that they have to have. Well, what you can do is you can record a lot of those regulations, a lot of that information into the custom GBT and have the person chat with the GBT so that if they have specific questions that they're not available to answer, they can actually chat with this GBT and get information that's you've already approved. And that goes into the consistency as well. So you can have consistent information transfer to someone from a training program. And you can also accelerate onboarding of new employees or somebody who you're training. Because if you do record all this and you're not available always to answer all the questions they have, you can put that into the GBT, and then those answers can come back in a chat conversation with that employee. So they can sort of self-help a little bit before they come to you for a lot of questions. Sorry, the system does kind of go to sleep a little bit. That's the one thing I've noticed about this tool that I'm using, which is an AI produced presentation. But it does go to sleep if I spend too long on a slide. So I apologize if there's a little delay there. So there's 5 steps in building a GBT. And this is pretty well documented within OpenAI, and I have provided the links all within this presentation. But one of the things that's really important is you really want to the first step is defining the role. What is it that you want your GBT to do? That has to be really specific. You really want to create one GBT per one role. So think about it as a single threaded person. Like it's not like a person. It doesn't multitask very well at all. In fact, it does one thing really, really well. So just think of that when you're thinking about the role. The other thing you want to do is write very clear instructions for your GBT. You have to tell it how you want it to behave and what you want it to do. You upload knowledge, and this is the other thing I mentioned about. You can upload up to 20 documents. They can be SOPs, policies, regulatory guidelines, anything you want referred to specifically by this GBT. And then there's a couple other things with enabling capabilities, and I'll go through that. And then there's testing and deploying. And what I would really recommend is iteratively testing and deploying and making sure it's doing what you want it to do. So what I decided to do is last January, I got my 50-ton captain's license. And there was a 2-week class we had to take for that. And it was, I'm not going to lie, it was pretty intensive. I've done a lot of training. I've done a lot of testing in my career, and being in IT, you feel like you're rigorously being tested for a lot of things. And that was a really hard course. And there was so much information jammed in my head for 2 weeks that, to pass the test that we were given, it's a Coast Guard test. And I was like, I really need somewhere to brain dump all this information. So I decided, just for this demo purpose and for other demo purposing of a custom GPT, to kind of give it a fun thing to talk about, was I built my first mate. This took me about 20 hours to do. And it's because I didn't have a lot of the files already uploaded. So I had to build those SOPs and guidelines. So if you think about maybe your organization or what you do, and you don't have all those things already created, then you are going to have to spend some time doing that. That is part of the process of building it. But defining the role, I use chat tools to define the role. I went and researched really what the ideal first mate is, what they do on board a larger vessel, and how that would function in sort of how the job would actually work in real life. And then I had to figure out how that would function in my custom GPT. And so then I had to build the knowledge and the capabilities. And then the last thing, the capabilities is really quite straightforward. That's probably the easiest process. It sounds more complicated than it is, but it's really the easiest part. And then adding the actions, those are in a more they get more technical, and I'll show you those, but they get more technical. But what you can do is you can integrate on the back end with other tools. So your actions can be an integration point with an API, which is basically you're going out and you're asking another system for information or to do something. So that piece of it did take some additional time, and I kept it simple. I just asked it to integrate with the weather and some other things. I didn't make it too complicated because I really wasn't sure how many APIs I could do and how many backend things I could do before I broke it. So I decided not to test those. Test that. I am testing that now, and I am breaking a few things now with other things I'm doing, but I didn't do that with this. I just took it one step and did the API. So, and I did it with weather. So the example, like I said, is my first mate, and I did. It took me about 20 hours, a half a week. And think about comparing that to a new employee and how long it does take to train them. And like I mentioned, there are some industries that's very, very tough. It can take up to 6 months to onboard somebody. So 20 hours and something that's repeatable and reusable, to me, is a pretty good investment in time. I know it seems like a lot when you think about it, but for me, and thinking about my career in the federal government, that would have been very helpful in certain job training. So the first thing that you want to do, like I mentioned before, is defining, and this gets a little into the details. So I do want to, like I said, leave time for Q&A, but A couple examples are when you define that role. One of the examples is a real estate professional. So you can tell your GBT you want it to be a real estate professional who's a member of the Association of Realtors and pledges to follow the Code of Ethics, and has a commitment to higher professional standards. And you'll see that you really are one of the sort of the tricks of the trade with prompting and talking to chat is telling it exactly how you want it to act. You have to be very specific if you want it to behave a certain way. So you tell it. And I think it's more pointed than people realize when they're first starting out. So another example is in a consulting agency, you're a Six Sigma certified consultant specialized in healthcare industry and in process automation. And then you kind of just continue that thread. And then another one is electrician. So you can have it be a certified electrician with 20 years experience working with the National Electrical Code. And the neat thing about this one is that the code does change and it does get modified. So anybody who's in construction knows this way better than I do. I've just done some home projects and things there. I've used construction or contractors, and I know that code has changed over the years. I have a very old house, and the code things that we used 10 years ago are even different than they are today. So you can upload new code, you can upload all the information, and your GBT can be an expert at that right away. You can just ask it questions, say, what was the, change in code to the outlets or whatever. I'm not going to try to make up words that I don't know, but, and change for this particular wiring, and it will know it right away, and it can talk to you about it, and you can chat about it because like I said, you can tell it to isolate that knowledge and to resource that knowledge in your uploaded documents that can reflect the code before it does anything else. So there's pretty detailed instructions, again, in this link I have down here in the presentation, which would take you out to OpenAI Academy. And just to let you all know, there's a lot of different places to reference this material. Unfortunately for us, people that are looking at doing this, OpenAI has a lot of different links, and it's a little bit of a hunt and peck. So I did try to go through and provide that information if you're interested in it to help you along the way. So the next thing you need to do is give it detailed instructions. And this is, you can do up to 8,000 words that you're allowed in these detailed instructions. And in here, you really want to tell your GPT exactly, like I was mentioning, exactly what you want it to do, exactly how you want it to handle your information, and exactly how you want it to reference your documents. You need to tell it you reference the documents by name that you uploaded, you reference your APIs by name, and you provide explicit instructions in terms of when it will access external information. And that's important because if you're doing it within a regulated environment, you're doing it something where you really want it to only use what you've supplied because you're doing training materials or anything, and you don't want it to go out to the internet unless specifically asked or it doesn't have the information, you can tell it to do that. So it is a little bit safer in that way in terms of hallucinations or making up things. Like I said, my favorite example is Reddit. Sometimes when you go out and use some of these tools, you'll see all the references back to Reddit and to some of these crowdsourced information, which, you have to always look at and examine when it's crowdsourced that way. So then like I said, like I was talking about the uploaded knowledge. So one of the things that I uploaded was I created a SOP for a boat, and I downloaded all of the information on the systems that are the navigation systems, all the systems within the boat. So you can do that for anything. You can do it for your home. You can do it for a lot of things. And you can create this massive SOP. Now, this SOP was pretty extensive because it included every single boat system. So it was telling the GBT how I wanted to use that information and how I wanted to do things. And I'll show you how I use that later when I show you the demo. But the other thing I uploaded was the navigation rules, the coastal pilot. All of these are U.S. Coast Guard documents that they publish. Some of them are by the U.S. Coast Guard. Some of them are by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And as a certified captain from the U.S. Coast Guard, you have to reference all these, and they teach you literally with books. You are working with paper charts and books, and you're looking things up and reference manuals and documents that are stacked up to here when you're doing this coursework. And you can load all of those in your GPT, and you can just ask it questions, and it will tell you the information. It's pretty amazing. So that's with how that knowledge works. I only uploaded, as you can see, like 7 documents, but you can upload up to 20 in here. Now the part on the top is what I said is the easy part, is enabling capabilities. So the enabling capabilities part is you just tell it how you want to work. And the web searching, image generation, code interpretation, and data analysis, I just check them all. If I want to use them, it will use them. If not, you don't have to. But in some cases, you may not want to, because it will take more time. The more capabilities you have selected, the longer it will take to think. That's basically the way it works. And image generation, sometimes you don't want to have that on, because you don't want maybe your employee, if they're doing it for training, you don't want them just creating, cartoon images of themselves or anybody else in your business, which you can do. So you're like, well, maybe that's not a good idea to have that in the training tool. So you might not want to select that. But the other thing is that you do sometimes want it to be able to go out and search the web, and you have to select that if you want it to do that. And the last part really is that part on the bottom, is where you really are kind of getting into code. And that code actually is all written by the AI tools. So the code itself, you can actually have your AI tools help you write that. Now, this was very specific to an action I wanted it to do, which was to take a city-state location, turning into GPS location, and then locate that GPS location on a weather map. So I wanted it to do something very specific. It was a little more complicated, so I added that feature in there. But you can use that for anything. There's a lot of open actions out there. There's a lot of help that you can get if you wanted to do something very specific and very customized like that. So this is the recording. I'm actually going to try to do a live demo. So bear with me. If it doesn't work, we'll go back to this. But hopefully we can get this going, and I can. This is the custom GPT that I built. Can you? Hopefully you guys can all see that. So one of the things that I did is I preloaded it with some different questions I wanted it to answer. So one thing that I tried yesterday, each of these questions you can preload in your GBT, and you can tell it how you want it to start your conversation every day. So one of the things that is really fun is I wanted it to understand the local knowledge, because that's one of the things that requires the books to look up. So the local knowledge is very specific. So it's going to ask me, so I just click about today's destination, then it's going to ask me, it's searching its knowledge, and then it's going to tell me, right, I need to understand. And I have my GBT talking to me like an Australian, because I really think their accent's fun. So then you see it saying, righto, Captain. It needs to know the destination. So one of the things that I have to tell it is the destination, and it's smart enough to know that. It says, hey, where are you going? So one of my favorite places to go is Solomon's Island. So you just enter Solomon's Island, and it will, even though I had a misspelling in there, it's going to know. So it's on the Patuxent River. It's going to tell me it's tucked up the western shore of Chesapeake, and it's this local knowledge. This local knowledge it knows, because I told it to, it knows to pull it from this document that I uploaded. It knows it's Coastal Pilot 3, Chapter 13, that relates to Patuxent and Severn Rivers. Think about how fast it did that, and think about how long it takes you as an individual to go figure that out. If you have a book, you have to navigate. So it tells me about the entrance. It tells me the lat long of it. It says, all the things I need to know about it. It talks about the anchorage, that it's mud and sand. Popular marinas there. It says wind and weather. Expect afternoon, morning. It tells me about the wind and weather today. I didn't ask it to do that, but it knows based on experience of what I've told it to do that I would want to know that. Talks about the fixed bridges. what the clearances are, because it is able to get all that from the knowledge I put in there. And then it gives me some tips. It says, hey, there's a West Marine grocery and good seafood within walking distance from this marina. Right? I mean, it's so smart. And then it asked me, and this is another thing I have to do. So, do you want to do some pre-checks on the boat? Do you want to have some pre-checks done, including tide, weather systems, fuel? So I'm going to say yes. All you have to do is say yes. Yes, please do that for me. This is, again, what I've asked it to do. It says, here's a quick little pre-check. It talks about the pre-cruise approach. And then it says systems ready, navigation clear, secure the night. You want me to prepare a departure plan? I'm like, yes, that would be fantastic. Again, this is all based on the things I added in here. Something else I want to show you that's I'm going to start a new chat because it's I'm done with that. This actually, can you walk me through Amplify's pre-departure checklist? So this is something I told the tool how to format. I put in my custom instructions, and then it says, here's what you want to check. And what it did is it pulled in the SOP, and then it's going to format everything based on what I'm looking for. So it's engine room. What do you need to do there? So think about this in anything that you have to do, like any type of work that you do. You may even have shutting down at the end of the night for your business. Say if you have a business, any type of bakery, or, is something you have to shut down the systems, and you have SOPs. Well, you can do these checklists in there. It talks about the generator, the electrical system, the battery voltages, fuel and water, record the tank level, steering controls. All of these are safety checklists. And then this is also pretty cool. I haven't integrated this because I stopped myself from going too crazy, but then it can do a pre-departure inspection log that I told it to format and to create into, and you'll see it's going to go through all this. And this is live. This is me talking to my GBT. And it's taking all this information, and it's putting this all into, it's going to put it into a formatted checklist that I can download. And so this can be downloaded separately. You include, departure sign off, but you can see as you go through here, and I can keep going on the chats. What's the plan? It asks me, it says, good morning, mate. What's the plan for today aboard the boat? Again, you're getting the sense of it. So let me go back to the presentation. I'm gonna I think it's still in full screen view. I think. Let me do this. Okay, I'm gonna go past this. This was actually the presentation that I recorded just in case the tool didn't feel like doing what we wanted to do. And up there, I put at the very bottom of that page, I did put the link to this custom GBT. So you could actually look at it if you wanted to. I mean, it doesn't maybe qualify for you guys and what you're doing in your daily business, but it's kind of fun just to play around with. And there are a lot of custom GBTs available in Chat GBT and I think you can get some of them without a paid subscription. I don't know because I have a paid one. So you may be able to get access to the GBTs out there without one. But like I said, they are customized, they're built. Some of them I've played around with them. Some of them are good. Some of them are not so good. So really it's, you just figure out if those are things that you want to use. But like I said, if you want to start your GBT journey, really think about what you wanted to do, what you can do in time saving, what things that you want, maybe for yourself, you want to brain dump. Like I needed to brain dump on all this information I learned. And, I thought it was a good way to capture that information. Then I would say start small, build with clear goals and instructions. Testing it is really important too. This took a lot of time to do the testing to make sure it was working the way I want it to. And I noticed one thing is I made some changes last night and or to the GBT, and one thing it's not formatting the logs the way I wanted it to, the way it had previously. So I would have to go in and improve that. And those are the things that you figure out as you go along and you use your GBT. And doesn't mean you can't use it from the get-go. It just means that is something just like an employee that, is constantly learning and growing. That's the way the custom GPT is. It's constantly learning, constantly growing. You can constantly add new information to it. You can make it as smart as you want to make it. But just starting small and start using it and start thinking about how you want it to help improve your business. And also what it really does is it allows you to really grow your business with you still at the helm. So a lot of times with a small business or any other business, as a business owner or someone that's in managing other employees, you really want to be able to kind of offload some of these things that you're doing. Maybe you've been doing it for 20 years and you want to capture your information. So offloading that so you can do other things and focus on other areas of your business while still having sort of your responses, your information, you at the helm. By instructing your GBT, you can still maintain that. So it's a really, really good tool for that. So anyway, that's my plug at the end. Schedule a call if you want to learn more with, certainly can discuss this more, or there are a lot of AI tools out there. There is just information is really is, it's not like when the internet first came out and, I was working in IT and I was working for small business at that time after college, and it was slower. Right now it is so fast, and it's, the race is on, and there's, our government is now involved, and it is just going at lightning speed. So I understand. I do this every day. I focus on it every day. I've spent a lot of time with the tools, and I'm very happy to work with you in whatever capacity you need. So that's my plug, but I do want to answer as many questions as you all have. So I'm going to turn it back over. We've got 20 minutes left or so, Amy. I'm hoping that's enough time, and I'm here to answer whatever you all have, questions you may have.
Yeah, I feel like my head is that emoji with like the emoji with like the exploding head, because I wrote so many notes and I have so many questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, like gosh, it's so much information and there's so much you can do with it. Let's see. I know one of the early questions was just about, we all are familiar, or at least have heard about Chat GPT. Somebody asked, what are there other ones? Yes, there are other ones. Is there any, I know you specifically use Chat GPT. Are there any
So
other
let me
ones
I
that
do
you-
want to talk about that a little bit. As of today, and I just did some research over the weekend. So as of it's Tuesday, but as of today, Chat GPT is the only one you can do this with. There are customizations you can add into the other AI tools. There absolutely are customizations, but how you can program them and use them is different. So this capability is really only resident in ChatGPT. It's not to say that other tools can't be customized to be trained on your tone and to do certain actions. And I have trained other ones to do certain things, but the way that I'm showing this is really the custom GPTs is just for the OpenAI tool ChatGPT. So,
And in the paid version of ChatGPT, not
yes,
the free version.
yes, and they're throttling. Believe me, I use free versions too, and they are starting to throttle. They're like, "Up, you're out of prompts." I'm like, "Dang it!"
Yeah. Speaking of prompts, how do you know what to prompt? Like when you're doing something that specific, like I feel like when I put in like what I've used it for is very basic. Like I just used it for the Jingle and Mingle survey for the vendor. I was like, write me an post-event survey for vendors, blah, blah, blah. And then I could like keep going. It would ask me, do you want me to do this? Like that helps me think, oh yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that. But when you're like really getting into something like this, did you have to like think of all the things that you wanted in there, or does it prompt you to then prompt it for more?
Yeah, so I think I might have mentioned in the very beginning, but I actually am a certified AI consultant. So I've had training in it. So that did help. Not to say that you need to do that route, but that did help me tremendously learn how to prompt. However, you can ask the tool, say, I want to do this. Tell me how to write a prompt for it.
Oh, okay.
So you can ask the tool. It will tell you how to write a prompt. I find that I still need to modify that. I find that I still need to update it. And I was trained. I was trained in mathematics. I did an MBA with a focus in IT, so I have a lot of math. So I think of prompting like statistics, like garbage in is garbage out. So the tools will tell you whatever you want to hear. Their goal is to give you information back. That is their purpose in life, is to give you information back in a way that you can find it useful. So if you don't do the prompting necessarily very well, you're going to get not for this type of thing. For more specific things, for more detailed things, you're going to get not everything you want. And but it does help you. It's like progressive iteration. It helps you think about, like you were saying, Amy. Helps you think about and plan things that maybe you hadn't considered. So you can ask it to help you build it, and then you can say, well, that's not exactly what I wanted. Can you really emphasize this or another thing? And it will help you.
Hi, Elizabeth. I have some questions.
Sure.
So just curious, say you take the time to build the custom GPT and you have this team member who's working with the SOPs you provided. If you have a paid ChatGPT membership, is there any way you can share this custom GPT with other team members so they can also use it?
Yes. So let me see if I can real quick go back over.
She jumped on
one of the
late. She
things-
missed that part. She had trouble logging in.
Sorry.
Okay. So yeah, so one of the things you can do is you can share. So after you build this GBT, and how you share is you can share it globally with a link. So my settings are I only share it through a link, very specific, because I didn't want to put this out globally. It's very customized to something I wanted to do that I thought was going to be entertaining and fun for me to do and learn the tool and how to do it. So I didn't really want to share this globally. Now, I do think other people could use it. It's for training, but I can share it through a custom link here. And then when you do that, whenever somebody logs into they'll get the link, they'll click on it. And when they log into their GBT or chat GBT, they'll see it on the side here. So let me show, all of these are different GBTs.
Cool.
So these are public ones. These are ones that we've produced internally on my workspace. And I'm working on another one. I haven't published it yet, but I'm working on several others. But these are all public ones and they're trending. So think that's what I had a graphic about the app store. Think about it like an app store.
Yeah.
And they're all
free.
Question.
Mm-hmm. For the first mate, can you integrate that with email?
So when you say integrate with email, I'm assuming you're thinking about you wanted to do some type of document or create a text and email.
Well, I was just thinking if it integrated in Outlook and someone reached out to this GPT and it could kick back, say the GPT is on real estate license regulations in multiple different states and you uploaded all of the regulations in 5 different states and someone reaches out to this GPT and it kicks back, okay, these are the DC regulations. I was just wondering if that's possible.
So you're talking about workflow right now, and that's where if you've heard the term agentic AI, what that means is an agent. So you can build agents and workflow with the GBTs. So it's a little bit different. It's adding additional technology on top of it. So your GBT can if you have it integrated, it doesn't like writing to things. It provides it. So you think about security and you think about IT security. And if your GPT is writing to things directly, you really don't want that level of access to OpenAI. So in other words, it can do a lot of things for me, but it will create things for me, but you have to have different actions to then handle those particular aspects of it. So that's really in the workflow and the scripting. So it's you can. So the answer is yes, you can, but not native to the GPT.
Okay, so you can't, a workflow can't be created within ChatGPT?
No, it's not really made for workflow. Those are other tools. Those are different automation tools that you can have layered on top of the GPT.
Ah, okay. Do you, just interested, do you do that as part of your consulting?
Yes.
Okay.
So like those bots that are like on websites, is that like kind of what you're referring to, where someone could ask those specific questions and it would funnel that information back?
So you can build the bots on top of it. Again, these are all layers. So the GBT itself is so the GBTs are great. I'm trying not to get too many levels of detail here. But they don't have what's called memory. So in order to have memory and have actions take place and things happening, so they don't have memory and they don't have permissions. So you have to, that's where the workflow and all of the different automations take place. So adding in the memory, adding in the actions, those are the different elements. So the GBT is basically a piece of it. So if you think about how you can have it then be a part of your whole entire workflow, yes, you can build it into your workflow. But the GBT is really just an element of it. And it's really not meant to do the whole, it's not meant to solve all the problems that, or challenges or opportunities, however you want to look at them within your business. So there are other tools available and out there. So I know email is one of those things that I have a love-hate relationship with email. And it's one of those things that I think everyone gets, challenged with their inbox and how to respond to things and how to do things. So there are tools out there that do inbox management and do workflow for that particular purpose. And it's finding the right tool with all of AI. It's really finding the right tool to meet the right need. So it's a toolbox. It's just like, if you think about it like a toolbox, like you're not going to use your hammer to screw in something. Probably hammer's not a good analogy for this one, but you get the point. You just, you have to find the right tool for the right thing. And what I was trying to show you is the way to capture knowledge and the way to store knowledge and the way to chat with knowledge through the GBT is a really good use case for it. So it's really the right tool for the right thing. I think that's really the lesson there.
So it sounds like that could be a one of our series is AI for workflow AI, because I know I would love that also. Yeah. And I think somebody did mention, using it to be more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
definitely.
I think it's because the knowledge is great, but it's how do you put the knowledge to work is what I'm most interested in.
Yeah.
Were there any other questions in here that I missed?
How long do you say it takes for a custom GPT to perfect? Because you said it's always learning. Like, about how long does that take for it to produce the way you want it to?
Well, it's testing that you're doing with that. So you can build it pretty quickly. Like I can go in and create. So one of the things I can show you right now is you can go in with this and you can just hit create. And you can go in and you can just tell it what you want it to do. So I typically go in the configure mode because that's more specific and I can tell it exactly what I want it to do. And But you can go in create mode and you can build a new GBT and you can start there. So you can build it pretty quickly, but there's a lot of tests that you need to do. So one of the things that you need to do is continually test. And so the way I've done it is I've done other chat sessions, not here, but I've done other chat sessions to create the GBT. So, and then I had it do what's called JSON code, and I wrote all the instructions because I basically thought through everything I wanted it to do, and I added it there. But you can go in and just go right here and start here. You can do it that way if you feel comfortable with the prompt and you feel comfortable that and it will walk you through it. It will help you in here write your GBT. And like I said, the cautionary thing is I would definitely know exactly what job you want it to do. And I would only, when you're doing this way, I would also really say that you need to have it do one thing and do one thing well first.
Is there any resources that you would recommend just to read more about the custom GPTs and then also the workflow AI?
So the workflow is going to is different tools. So you have automations in a lot of the tools that you can set up pretty easily. They're called tasks, and we could probably, I think that may be more helpful than actually going through the automation tools. But you can set up specific tasks for your GBT to do that can run every day. And I have this done. I have this working. It can do social media scripting. It can say, create a social media script and I told it exactly what I wanted to do and post it into my Google Docs. Now I had to actually write that code in Google, but it's using my GBT to write the actual script, the social media post, but then it's taking that with Google scripting and putting it into a document that I can review. So it's outside of the tool is what I was mentioning before. So in the presentation, I have these links. So this is, like I was mentioning before, the OpenAI, it's the information is sort of scattered around. I can pull all this I do have a starter guide that I can send out. If
that would be helpful.
Yeah. On some of these things I've talked about. But there are links in here. So they're in different locations. So OpenAI has a cookbook, which talks about this information. They have a writing instruction, which is in the help center. And they have creating a custom GBT, which is located in their resources. And that's in OpenAI Academy. So there's a lot of information in OpenAI Academy. And I'm trying not to sound really critical of OpenAI because they put a lot of information out there, but it's really scattered. It's a lot of hunt and pecking for it. So I tried to pull those things together and show you where they're giving you this, how to do stuff. So how to write just your GBT, custom GPTs is in the Academy. How to do the detailed writing instructions is key writing instructions is in the help center. And then how to do, the enable the capabilities is in their cookbook. So, they're helpful, but they're scattered. So around.
All right. Well, it sounds like we'll get together with Elizabeth and figure out some things for 2026 for some other breakdowns on other AI tools that we can use within our businesses. And maybe we can set up an in-person one too with like actual sessions and things. So, but you guys all have Elizabeth's contact info. I will email out her slide presentation so you'll have that. And the webinar is recorded. So if you want to share it with anyone or go back and reference anything. But that's it for now, unless anybody has anything else. Anything, Elizabeth?
No, thank you for your time today. I hope that it's got some some things, to think about, left you with some things to think about and to consider that maybe you hadn't before. So that was really the objective. And
how long would you say it would take an average person, not like you with IT background, to like really dig in, get familiar, and create their own chat GPT?
I'll let you know.
All right. Yeah. Gabrielle's going to be the first. She's going to dive in today. I have a feeling. Report back next week.
Like I said, depending on what you wanted to do, it can be pretty straightforward or more complex. It really depends. And it depends on also what you have available already to load in the tool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for your time.
Sure.
And sharing your knowledge with us. So you guys have a great rest of your week. We've got Ladies of Commerce meeting up at Fountain Flourish on Thursday for Midnight Madness. And then we have, if anybody on here is not a member or a new member, Chamber 101 next week on the 17th, where we'll go over the benefits, how to maximize the use of your benefits, which is how we met Elizabeth, and meet some other new members. And then we're closed out for 2025 and look forward to 2026. So everybody stay warm.
Thank you. Nice seeing you.
Thank you, Amy.
Enjoy the holidays.
You too, Art.
You too.